Hey guys, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this one. It is on the TEYES CC3 with the 2K 1200p resolution screen. Let's check it out. Now, TEYES do not need any introduction. They are pretty much one of the most prestigious brands when it comes to Android head units. Now, if you frequent my channel, you probably know that the TEYES CC3 came #1 on my list of Android head units for 2022, and that is for a magnitude of reasons, mainly because of their absolute attention to detail in quality control when it comes to both hardware and the amazing TEYES software, which goes as far as integrating other hardware such as dash cams and tire pressure monitoring systems all within the TEYES software itself, which is absolutely brilliant. The other thing is their customer services from Dan from TEYES Australia is absolutely fantastic as well. And again, this is something that is quite rare when it comes to Android head units. Now, the CC3 is their flagship model, and it now comes in 3 variants. Originally, it was the standard version, and then they had the 360 parking version, which has slightly different hardware to make it compatible with the 360 cameras. And now they've brought out the 2K model here, which has that 1200p resolution screen. So it's going to be much, much sharper with regards to the screen. Now, at the moment, the 2K model here is not compatible with the 360 camera hardware. If you want the 360 camera hardware, you're going to have to go with the standard CC3. One of the other reasons why they're keeping the older CC3 model is because the microphone and reset button are in slightly different places on these, which means there might be a compatibility issue when it comes to certain dash trims. Now, back to the 2K model here. I'm not going to be doing the standard unboxing and testing and all of that, because that would be pointless, because I've already done a full review on the CC3 and this really is no different to that. However, what you guys will be wanting to know is what is the difference between these two and what difference does that screen actually make? And that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to put them next to each other. I'm going to run the same apps. I'm going to do Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and I'm going to see how different they are. And the other thing that you guys want to know is what's the deal with the microphone? Because since I made the review video of the CC3, there's been quite a few people that have said that the microphone isn't great. Now, I personally didn't see that as an issue, but plenty of people have said that there is an issue, and apparently the 2K model has resolved this problem. So I'm going to try that as well. I'm going to make a phone call on both on video, and we can see which one is better. Anyway, let's get to it. I've got the camera pointing at the devices, and we're going to do it now. So what I've done is I've set up both of these head units side by side on my desk here, and I'm going to show you the differences right now. So we have the original CC3 here and the CC3 2K on this side. Ignore the weird lines that are showing on this screen. They are not actually there. There must be some incompatibility with the refresh rate. So what you're probably going to notice straight away is that the original CC3 has these capacitive touch illuminated buttons, and the new CC3 2K does not have those buttons. The main reason for this is because even though both of these units are identical from a physical size perspective, the 2K screen is larger and it takes up more of the bezel. There's a much thicker bezel around the sides of this one, whereas the screen is taking up much more surface area on the CC3 2K. I mean, to be honest, there is space here for capacitive touch buttons if they wanted to put them on, but they have decided not to do that. The only other difference between the two of these is that the mic and reset button are in slightly different places. So in this one, it's right at the top of the screen, and the mic and reset button on this one is slightly lower down. And that was the reason why there's still an option between the two of them, because some of the dash trims that are designed for these incorporate mic and reset button holes, and obviously if they're in different places then that can cause an issue. So onto the actual quality of the screen itself. There is a very noticeable sharpness to the 2K. Everything on it is absolutely pinpoint sharp. It looks absolutely beautiful. It really makes a difference to have a high-res screen. On the original 720p, it is still sharp, as you would expect from that kind of resolution, but there is a sort of softness to the text. Now what I can see is the colours on the original CC3 are different. I don't think they're better, but if you have a look via the camera, you can probably see that there is more violet happening on the screen here than there is on this one, where it appears to be more blue. Now that doesn't make either of them better, but what I can tell you is that the colouring and the contrast ratio of the 2K screen is much better. So it really pops this screen. It looks absolutely fantastic. It is certainly an upgrade to go to this screen from this screen based on what we're seeing on the display here. But I'm going to show you what it looks like in different apps now. So we'll start with the radio. Let's see if there's a difference between the two of these. And really the answer is no, because what the TEYES developers have done is they have created an interface specifically for the 2K screen so that the text and the icons are the same on both. So absolutely the same, no difference there whatsoever. And if we go into the settings on both of these, everything is exactly the same. So let's look at apps which weren't designed by TEYES. Let's have a look at Spotify. So here's we're starting to see the difference between the two screens. Spotify uses the same DPI dots per inch for all of the images and text on both of these, because it doesn't know that you're using a different screen. So what that means is, because there are more pixels in the screen here, everything appears smaller because those text and images are taking up a smaller amount of space in the grand scheme of things. And what does that mean? It means you get much more data on the screen. So if we scroll up on one of these, then you can see that these icons are much bigger and you can get fewer on the screen, whereas on this one you can get many more images on the screen at once. And it just looks better on this screen. Right, let's look at Waze. And as we can see, this one is a lot sharper and the image just looks much cleaner. Again, you've got slightly smaller interface because it's utilizing more dots per inch. The higher resolution of the screen is being utilized by Waze than that one. But yeah, again, this is much sharper and much cleaner. Now when watching videos, there's a very clear difference between the 2K and the 720p model. Yes, the 720p model does look great, but it just looks very soft. Looking at the difference in the resolution between the two of these, it's so clear that the 2K model is so much sharper. So again, there is a benefit to having the 2K model in that regard. One of the things that a lot of people mentioned was that there was some issues with the quality of the microphone. I personally never experienced it, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a call using the brand new CC3, and then I'm going to make a call using the original CC3, and we'll see if my friend can tell us which one actually sounds better. Right, let's do that now.
Hello.
Yeah, hi David. So we're testing the new CC3 2K, and I want to see if you can notice the difference between the quality of the microphone on the new unit and from the old unit. So
yep.
How does this sound as I'm talking to you now?
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah. Can you hear any of the fans that I currently have going on in the background? Is there any background noise whatsoever as I'm talking to you?
No, nothing at all. They're really clear.
So it sounds like a normal hands-free kit that you'd normally hear.
Yes, definitely.
All right, cool. Right, let me call you back on the other unit and we'll see if there's any difference.
Cool. Okay.
Bye.
Hello.
David.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Can you hear yourself?
No, it don't sound as clear as the other one.
What's the difference?
It's like a little bit muffled slightly.
Muffled? Okay.
Yeah, it's not as, the clarity's not as clear.
Oh, okay, interesting. And can you hear any background noises or like fans or anything in the background?
No, nothing, no.
Okay, so it's just more muffled, but you can still understand me.
Oh yeah, the other first one sounded really clear. Clarity was there.
Okay,
This
okay.
one's slightly off.
Alright, well I'll tell you now then that the first one that we tested was actually the new CC3 and with the 2K screen, and this one is the original CC3, so there obviously is a clear improvement between the two.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thanks Dave, I'll catch you later.
No problem at all. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, and there we have it. So the new CC3 is actually an improvement in sound quality. Now again, I never had any complaints with the original CC3, but then I don't really talk to a lot of people when I'm driving. The fact is, just with that test there, my friend didn't know the difference between the two. I didn't tell him which he was testing, and he immediately said that the CC3 2K was the better sounding from a Bluetooth perspective. Now on the back here, you can see that the two of them are different. There has been a redesign with the 2K screen model, which is this one here. The main difference between the two of them is that the fan is external on the older CC3, and on the newer CC3 with the 2K screen, it is built in and is internal. Now I did notice when I turned these around just now after they've both been on for quite a while that the original CC3 with the 720 screen was actually a lot hotter than the 2K model. So it's quite possible that the redesign happened to allow for more efficient cooling. Other than that, the 2K model has the coax and optical ports slightly lower on the back than on the original model, and all of the other ports are identical. They're all in exactly the same places. And here we have Android Auto on both the 2K screen and the 720p screen. You can see that there is much more detail in the map on the 2K screen because it's, again, Google is utilizing the additional screen resolution on this, and it looks absolutely great, whereas the 720p screen doesn't have as much detail on it. I mean, it does look great as well, and you can see difference in sizes on other things. For example, the album art for Spotify is smaller on this screen, as is the icon for Spotify in the top right hand side. They're both using the same amount of pixels, and there is just simply more pixels on this screen. So that is one of the other things to take into consideration as well. We use Spotify on both. So on here you have 4 columns of icons, and on here you only have 3 columns of icons. And then if we actually have a look at the actual applications themselves, you can see the icons are slightly bigger on the 720 screen, but ultimately you've got 4 lines of icons on both. And here's the original CC3 with the 720 screen. You can see that it has 8 icons visible, very large icons on the screen, and you also have 3 icons on the right hand bar. And then looking at the split screen here, you can see how much space the map is taking and how much data you're getting in this small map, and then how much space the other bits and pieces are taking over. So ultimately, this is what we're going to compare against. Now play the memory game, remember what this looks like, because now we're going to go and have a look on the 2K screen. And here you go. You can see that the sidebar is taking up less room on the screen, and you can see that you have 10 icons on the screen as opposed to the 8 that you had on the 720p model. And then if we go to the split screen mode, you can see that the map section does seem to be taking up a larger amount of the screen, and to my eye that does look like it's containing more data within that space. It's certainly sharper. Everything on here is sharper because remember, on the 720 display everything is huge and a little bit fuzzy, whereas here you've got much better sized icons and it's pinpoint sharp. It just looks fantastic. And that is pretty much it. If I've missed anything, just ask in the comment section below and I'll see what I can do about that. I would very, very much appreciate you subscribing to my channel if you like this kind of content, because I've got tons of stuff coming up. I've got a couple of the AI Android boxes to review. I've got a couple of projectors that I need to review, and a couple of new Android head units that I need to do as well. And all of that is coming up on the channel very soon.